Hello, Duncan. My name's Alison Cooke. I'm an engineer, so I was very excited to hear the Deputy Lord Provost talk about James Watt and engineers and the influence in Glasgow and so on, and the heart of the Industrial Revolution. What's your role, Duncan, in Glasgow?
Well, I'm Duncan. I'm Chief Resilience Officer for the City of Glasgow, and as part of that role, I look after sustainability issues in Glasgow. And in the past, maybe a lot of that's been about reducing our carbon emissions, but now it's increasingly recognising the local impacts of inexorable global climate change and how that affects our weather. So we want to be a responsible city that reduces our emissions. We want to produce a much higher urban quality of life, which we think a sustainable city can offer our residents, visitors and investors. But we also want to be a place that's adapted to the future challenges of climate change, be it increased rainfall or population movement or food security.
But for people who maybe don't know much about climate change, what about it? Do you think it's a man-made issue, or do you think it's more a natural phenomenon?
Well, I know that climate throughout the whole Earth history prior to the arrival of our species has been shifting, but it's been shifting a whole hell of a lot more over the last 250 years of the Industrial Revolution in particular, as a result of all the carbon we put in the air. And this city, as you said earlier, is the place where James Watt, the great engineer of the Industrial Revolution, first invented some of his great products that helped power that revolution, not only here in Glasgow but globally. And in a sense, that was the moment at which we really began putting a lot of carbon into the atmosphere and changing over those decades and centuries our own climate. And in a certain sense, we look in a secular sense to atone for those sins now by looking to reduce our carbon emissions. But what is clear to me is that a consensus of scientists around the world say that we humans are responsible for changing the climate through our carbon emissions. And when I want to walk on a bridge, I don't go asking someone who isn't a scientist or has read a couple of scientific journals how to build a bridge. I want the engineers who know how to build bridges so I can get safely across that chasm. And therefore, if that consensus is that we've done something, I'm following the scientists.
Okay, thank you. So I'm working on a project with a group of engineering institutions all around the world on engineering solutions to the climate challenge. So that we don't think that the Industrial Revolution is the source of the problem and that there might be some solutions. Can you think in Glasgow of ways in which engineers are helping you to rise to the challenge of the climate changing?
Absolutely. We're very fortunate in Glasgow that we've got world-class universities, great colleges and skilled entrepreneurial people. And we draw upon all those assets which cities are always able to bring together, young people and academics alike, to really try to face these challenges. Some of the examples I'll give you are around land in particular, about the challenge we have about surface water management and flooding. We've got a lot more rainfall in Glasgow as a result of climate change. And what we've therefore done is clean up some of our land, which is previously scarred by industrial use and chemically poisoned, cleaned that up, made it climate ready by using things like SUDS, which stands for Sustainable Urban Drainage Systems, which are like little canal-like structures and ponds, naturally to absorb the rainfall, and which for local people look like they're a wonderful part of the environment. So we've done all those things. What I will say to you, however, also is, in Glasgow we say something very simple. Climate change adaptation is about physical engineering. You sometimes need concrete and bulldozers, but it's also about social policy. You need to engage people who are at the hard end of climate change too.
That is so true, and as I said, we have the Institution of Civil Engineers working with us. I'm sure they've been helping with all those sorts of SUDS, the drainage systems that you've been talking about. So thank you very much for talking to us tonight, and I wish you all the best with all the work you're doing in Glasgow.
Thank you, you're very welcome, and Glasgow will continue to flourish as a sustainable city, I hope.
Thank you.